keeping you informed and entertained. This is The Live Drive with John Tory on News Talk 1010.
In the middle of all the discussion about how much oil we have, and of course we see one of these charts in the paper almost every day saying, boy, we're really blessed in this country. We've got enough oil that we'll never run out in our lifetime. A lot of it, of course, in the reserves in the tar sands. And we sort of conclude everything's okay. But, here we are in the province of Ontario, where we actually don't have anything much left by way of oil. There's a bit down by Petrolia down there, but there's not much left in this province. And so it allows us to be a bit complacent about how we're going to fuel things, especially transportation going forward, and it allows to become obscured perhaps some of the benefits that we've had from the ethanol industry. And there's some debates about that, but we've got a man here who can answer some questions about that, and I wanted to just ask him. His name is Ken Fields. He's the chairman of GreenField Ethanol. Good afternoon, Mr. Fields.
Hello, John Tory. How are you?
Fine. Thanks for coming on. Should we be sitting back and saying, well, no problem here. We've got all the oil we need in Alberta, and means we're going to be just fine, thanks, in Ontario?
I don't think we're just fine, thanks at all. As a matter of fact, most people don't appreciate that from Manitoba east, 80% of all the crude oil that we refine here in Ontario, Quebec, and the Maritimes, or the gasoline that we import, is imported. And it's imported from countries like Saudi Arabia, the Middle East, Venezuela, Nigeria, some from the North Sea, and therefore there's two big issues there. Number one is how energy secure are we in the event there was a problem in any of those countries or in the world? And number two, the price of oil is a world market price, which, fluctuates quite dramatically, and therefore Canada is subject to very high oil prices in the event that occurs, even though we may have tar sands in the West.
All right, now you're in the ethanol business, and we're not likely to strike oil in Ontario as far as we know. You never know, it could happen, but there is, in the form of ethanol, a partial solution to this dependency that we can sort of grow and produce right here.
Absolutely. When you think about the fact that a farmer can plant a seed in Ontario in the spring and that we can have a transportation fuel that we can run in our cars in the fall, that's quite a wonderful thing. And in North America, that is now a 14 billion gallon a year market. We produce it, we refine it, and we market it in North America, and that's as much gasoline as we use in all of Canada every year.
And the ethanol content today, is it 10% in Ontario's mandated?
It's mandated at 5%, but it's usually blended at 10%, so almost all gasoline in Ontario has 10% ethanol.
All right, and has that produced any benefits in terms of the air quality, or are there any benefits aside from, I guess, the farmers selling the corn?
Well, as a matter of fact, when I got into this business 15 years ago, the reason for putting ethanol into gasoline was to reduce smog and reduce particulates, which causes asthma in children and is also detrimental to just general health. So ethanol reduces particulates by 50%, carbon monoxide by 30%, and then other pollutants like NOx and SOx and things like that by between 30% and 70%. So it reduces every single tailpipe emission.
Now, some of the critics can say that it costs more energy to produce ethanol, and they also say, look, this corn should be used to feed people who are hungry as opposed to burning it up driving our cars.
It's really a tragedy that the media picked up on those stories, which were basically perpetrated by people who have an interest in not seeing ethanol in gasoline.
Is that the oil companies?
Well, the oil companies and perhaps beef producers as well.
Okay.
But the important thing is that, history has proved them to be so wrong. This year in North America, we produced 14 billion bushels of corn. And, of course, that's not the corn you eat. That's corn that's used for industrial manufacture. A lot of it is used to make high fructose corn syrup, and, of course, there's major issues with that for health reasons. Most of it is used to feed the cattle, beef, pigs, sheep, chickens, turkey, fish, but none of those animals were intended by our Lord or by however they were created to eat corn. They're supposed to eat grass or other things, and therefore when you feed them corn, you have to give them antibiotics and other medicines, which we've been told is also very unhealthy for us. And after producing 12 billion gallons of ethanol this year, 1.9 billion bushels of corn will be distributed around the world, half of it for free.
So we can do both is really what you're saying.
And there's still a 2 billion bushel shortage.
I got to go and check on the news, but can I have you back? Can I have you back for a debate one day from people who want to debate you on the food and on the energy? Will you come back to do that?
It would certainly be my pleasure.
All right, because these are the discussions we should be having about these different trade-offs and different alternatives. Ken Fields, chairman of GreenField Ethanol, thank you very much for coming with us.
Thank you very much.
You're listening to The Live Drive with John Tory on News Talk 1010.
From the News Talk 1010 Broadcast Center in downtown Toronto,